We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. We're still all kind of percolating about this election and how shitty everything is. I know there's a lot of people upset, a lot of people concerned. So our frequent guests on the show reached out to me, and I knew this guy would have a lot to say. I'm talking, of course, of Abe Gurko. Won't be silent. I've got a feeling that's not going to change at all. You're going to be more loud and more wild as ever.
I mean, I'm going to definitely not shrink away from any responsibilities of who I am and who my platform is. I do have to say that a few months ago, way before even Kamala got into this, when I kind of had a sense that Joe was beginning to tank, which I still think he probably should have stayed in the race, but whatever. Um, I said to my sister, if the Democrats can't pull this, I'm registering as an independent, just for my own frame of mind. When you learn that 34% of the vote last night were independents,
Yeah.
that's a party that needs to come together. It should have started in 2016 with the Never Trumpers and get those sane Republicans and skew on some of the less far left Democrats that are being the moderate. Being a moderate Democrat is irrelevant
Yeah.
at this point. And I mean, I just feel that we have 4 years to get new candidates. I mean, here in Los Angeles, there was a race for attorney general in Los Angeles. This guy Gascon, who turns a blind eye on crime and lets people steal up to $950
Right.
and doesn't believe in jail. Well, he lost to an independent. And I think that that's very telling. And I think that that's something, I think there's a financial restriction for building an independent party from the government funding of the Democrats and the verse. I think there's something financial that stops it from becoming something. But I think we have to put our foot in the ground and say, you know what? It's not about two sides of a coin. It's about a universe where people do have diverse opinions and don't want to feel like they have to share. Look, I'm gay, and the gay community was all up in arms about the trans rights and all this. It's not, you're not winning those extra 15 million people that we needed that stayed home.
Right.
And I
Right.
can go on it, even though I made a post last night when I came home at 1 in the morning and said, I'm not going to sit here and do shoulda, woulda, coulda,
Right.
not right away. But let's face it, there's a lot of things that we have to be, harsh about why it didn't work.
Well,
As
don't
much
you?
as we loved her and fell in love with her, and but we just have to, let me just vomit this out.
Okay, go ahead.
We went on a journey with we went on a journey with Hillary since that first day when she was on 60 Minutes and said, I'm not going to stay home and bake cookies. Like, that was when everybody first, that we were on a ride with her for 20 years. You can't compare why we were so let down in 2016 by him.
Yeah.
She was like, it was like losing a family member when she lost. I refused for this 3 month romance we went on with Kamala to allow myself to lose an ounce of steam. We have to move forward. World's still here. We're breathing. Go. What do we do?
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
4 years. Let's do something.
And I think you make a good point about the independent party. I don't know if that's a party per se or it's just individual designations, but we look at the two party system, and people for a long time have said that's deteriorating. We know the Republican Party no longer exists. What's there is just a bunch of fascist fucks. But on the same side, on the liberal side, the Democratic side, you have to wonder if that's not broken too. We've we're playing in a different playing field
Wonder
than the
no more.
Republicans. Yeah, wonder no more. So I wonder, does that mean somebody has to step up and establish some kind of third party that's legitimate? Most third parties aren't worth a shit.
No, the Green Party has proven to just be a scam for Russia
Mm-hmm.
twice. And if you remember, just in to be fair, who was that little guy that ran as an independent between
Um,
Bush?
yeah.
What was his name? That
Uh,
the Poindextery guy.
yeah.
Remember?
It's on the tip of my
He
tongue. I can't remember. It was a
he
while
got
ago.
like 25-30% of the vote.
Right.
He was a legitimate. There to me is no. I'm leaving the Democratic Party this week. I'm re-registering as an independent, and hopefully it'll be an interesting journey. It can't be as sad as being a Democrat, honey.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There are people going around saying that, of course they are. And they're saying, well, there's some irregularities with the election. Now, I don't want to be like the Trump-a-fucks and do that, but there were some oddities about there. We know Russia was meddling. We know they had the bomb threats in all the swing states. There's the talk about, and I don't know how to read this. Some people say 16 or 18 million votes are missing, or 16 or 18 million people just didn't come out and vote. I don't know which it is. And it doesn't really matter because the Democrats aren't going to do anything about it anyway. Um, we have a little problem with the credibility of our Supreme Court, but we also have a problem with the credibility of our voting system and the Electoral College, which we're kind of stuck with because it's in the Constitution. But I'll say this: when Donald Trump first got elected, in a joking way, I said Donald Trump will burn down the Republican Party, and he might burn down the whole system. That would suck, but maybe we need to do that. I did say that. Now that I'm here, and what may be happening is burning down the whole system. I don't know if I'm ready for the chaos that ensues when that happens.
You know what? We're just not together enough.
Right.
At least, you got to admit, MAGA put together a front that they're like weaponized and ready to go. We're
Right.
like, we have fabulous. I mean, God bless our souls, We're just I just think that if we're going to be involved in political discourse for the rest of our lives, I want to hear more than just two sides.
Yeah.
Like every year, I can't listen to it. And because the Democratic tent is so big and wide and diverse, you'll never get people to really be engaged on the same level. I mean, just the fact, and I said this, I know to you, for everybody to be relying on Gen Z, well, hello, where are their numbers? Most of
Yeah.
them splintered off because of Dr. Stein and because of Gaza, and you know that we've avoided talking too much about the war and the conflict there,
Well, fuck
but
it
that
now.
got in the way of a lot. Yeah, that got in the way of a lot of people feeling engaged, because when you see all this riots in the street and you see the face coverings and you see the vitriol and you see that there is a Russian, you know, bot that breathes Dr. Stein, taking those votes away from Kamala as like a plan, as an intention. Now, granted, those numbers wouldn't have made the final analysis of the win. However, I
But they
just
could have
think
gone to
that,
Trump. They could
yeah,
have gone to
but I
Trump.
think the Green Party is like not enough people care
No,
enough to make their whole platform
no.
about that, you
I
know?
I made a comment on a TikTok and I said for all of those young people and all of those progressive left people that were mad at Joe Biden, that didn't want to vote for him because he was handling Gaza wrong. You have to understand what you did here. Donald Trump said he could fix it quickly, and he can fix it quickly. But the way he's going to fix it is give Bibi Netanyahu, his BFF, as much ammunition as he needs and all the free reign to blow up whatever. So the Gaza people that you're trying to protect are going to end up collateral damage.
No, would you hear it, Lauren, or something? That was a campaign promise. How many campaign promises does he keep? He's best friends. His butt buddy is Putin, biggest
Yeah.
anti-Semite in the world.
Well,
What
and
are you talking about?
he's gonna fix that. Well, he and Bibi are close. Krishner and Bibi's family were very close. But he also talked about Putin, and he talked about Ukraine, how he could wrap that up in 24. ours. And again,
Yeah,
the
well,
only
you
way
know
that's
what?
going to go is he's going to let Russia run roughshod over Ukraine and give Ukraine no money.
You know what? And this is what America wants now. This is what they get. And
Yeah.
if 18 million people couldn't get off their heads, and I'll tell you something else that I've been saying for a long time throughout this whole process. No one is focused. No one is focused. The Democrats were not focusing on the 60 plus or 62 plus
Right.
senior citizens who are on Medicare, who get Social Security, who have to pay out of pocket sometimes for meds that are not covered in. Nobody was talking to them. She finally did an ad this past week
Yeah.
talking about Medicare. These are the voters.
Yeah.
Why would you know what? It's almost like this is why the as good as a campaign as she did, and I say that right away, she was amazing. We fell in love with her. She achieved the impossible. She became a superwoman with no real practice. She just had to go put on that cape and fly, and she did. But again, I was on one of those Don Lemon podcasts I did a month ago, and she had come out really strong after the debate. And then there was like 2 weeks where the campaign, David Plouffe came on board, and there was like almost like 2 weeks where it was felt like it was floundering. And
Yeah.
we were saying, she needs to do Saturday Night Live. She needs to do 60 Minutes. She needs to do this. She needs to shake hands. She needs to go to cafes. And we were like freaking out. And of course, ultimately, she did that. And but I said this also from the beginning. Where is my senator who was directly confronting Kavanaugh? That was the persona that needed to continue from the day after the campaign to the debate, straight to the end.
Well,
That
and
was like, boom.
some of the blame's got to go to Merrick Garland. Had he done his job from the beginning, we would have been done with Donald, and he wouldn't have been an issue in the campaign. Uh, Merrick Garland's got to be taken to task on this sort of thing because he royally fucked up and all the
Yeah.
delays and such. I never thought, I don't know if you've gotten this. I've gotten this, a few of them, people coming to my page and they're mad at me because I said she was going to win. And the fact of the matter is, all logic, all common sense told you she was going to win. It didn't make sense that she wasn't going to win. And
Yeah.
then, of course, this happens. Now, people got mad at me, and I'm not a lot. A few people got mad at me, but and I understand that they got to lash out against somebody. But where was that anger? Where was that toughness when Donald Trump was getting convicted of 34 felony charges? Where was the anger? Everybody was just kind of going, well, yeah, that's bad. We needed that kind of
You
fire
know,
a year ago.
look, a year ago, we were all kind of freaking out that Joe was like mumbling.
True.
You know? And look, but that's like another thing. Should you see? Here's the look. We're going to go back and play woulda, coulda, shoulda till we croak, right?
Right. Right.
But here's one of the shouldas anyway for the fun of it. When Joe got into the White House in 2021, that first week, he should have the first 100 days he should have set out what he did for the first 100 days. After that, he should have invited all the Democrats, and we should have had the equivalent of "So You Think You Can Dance" and see who should be the 2024 candidate.
Right.
We had 3 years, 3.5 years to really get something going and get the enthusiasm going. But that didn't happen. And then you have to wonder. He said, "I'm the only one that could beat Trump." And then you have to wonder, was he right? Even though he was like, we could have strolled him out in a baby carriage. You know what I
Well,
mean?
well, that's
It's
the
women. This
question.
is a misogynist, racist country.
So,
It's
yeah, well,
misogyny and racism. And anyone that thinks otherwise is la la land galore.
I
Like in
agree.
hindsight, like, did we think that we could do this because we did Obama? Did we think that we were going to have the same thing? And I'll say something else about Obama that came up in the conversation yesterday is that Obama ran on a very progressive, platform in 2008.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he won and won handily. So it's almost like you can't only use the, oh, it's progressive, and he was elected on universal health care.
Right.
And that brings me back to my one other point about why that Kamala did not manage this, because he ran on universal health care. I will bring universal health care. That's 5 words. Joe Biden, I will save the soul of America. 5 words. Kamala Harris had a soliloquy of how she was going to help everybody in every nook and every cranny of this
Right.
fine country. And everyone was like, la, 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 la. And you couldn't figure out what. If she would have had one 5 word expression for what she was doing, freedom may not have been the one either. You know what I mean? Because it's too vague of a concept, because
Yeah.
democracy is also a vague concept. But yeah, it's just the messaging. It goes back to our messaging.
Well, we said we can second guess a lot of stuff. I thought that the fact that she was a black South Asian woman was less important because of the concerns about Donald Trump. Do you think when it comes down to it, the main reason why she didn't win is because she's a woman and because she's uh, a woman of color? I mean, I think the racism and misogyny in this country is incredible. I mean, there's a lot of it. I, I I was maybe fooling myself to think that we hate Donald Trump so much we'll look past the fact that she's a woman and she's black. Um, Most people would, but apparently there's enough people to think, well, I can't have a woman as president. I can't have a black woman as president. It seems to be the case.
I think it was more, I'd like to think it's more about woman, because you saw at the final stages, that it's Latino men voted in large numbers for him.
Right.
And in the state of North Carolina alone, Black women voted for him in large numbers. So it's not racism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course,
And
the
if
other
it's
thing, white
self-hatred, I don't
women
know what
voted
it
for him.
is.
White women voted for her
White
or him
women. White
too.
women will always vote. White women voted for him in 2016.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he didn't win in 2020 is because Joe Biden was going to save the soul of America. You could spit it out in one concept, you could hold on to it, you could feel it, you knew it, you agreed. There's no difference between the emotionality of knowing he's going to go in there, and his threats were far worse than in
Yeah.
2016 and
Yeah.
2020. What are we talking about? I mean, what is Liz Cheney doing today? Should she technically be scared, afraid? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. I don't
Like,
know.
I don't think he's going to do half the shit that he's. I think that's all campaign promising, get people riled
It's
up.
all hype. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I agree.
the guy was jerking off the air. You know what I mean? And sucking on a microphone and like talking about Arnold Palmer's dick. I mean, the gay community probably jumped on board in the last minute for that. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this: the man is incompetent. He's diminished mentally, cognitively.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't see him making it through 4 years, either by way of his own health or by way of the Republican Party. Because what I honestly think is they used him to get elected, and then he's pretty much going to go golfing, and they're going to dictate what he does, and they get away with
Oh,
that by knowing how to
100%.
manipulate him.
No, he's definitely a Trojan horse to deliver friggin' what's his name, J.D. Vance, who's the Christian nationalist darling. And this is the problem that obviously didn't scare enough people into voting.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if we end up with that, I don't think your and my life's going to be that much different. But
No.
it's those who are going to be the most affected by this. It's like I did a post last night. It's like, if you voted against your own best interests and your family's well-being, well, you have to live with yourself. I'll be
Absolutely.
fine.
Yeah. And
That
that's I said
that
that.
that kind of decision, you're allowed. If they start sending, people from Mexico or South America back to their homes and rounding them up and all the things that he's promising, you got blood on your hands. Like that's
Absolutely.
what it's like you go to war without going to war.
People were coming to me saying, "Hey, Mike, are you okay?" I'm fucking fine. I don't get
I'm
emotional about
fabulous.
stuff. And I happen to be, and I happen to be the favored species among the Republicans, an old white cis male.
Right.
So,
My friend has a line that's really good. If you're fine, I'm fabulous.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, look, we're just gonna plod through life the way we've been plodding through life. There's high points, there's low points, there's good days, there's bad days. Yesterday was a bad day, but I refuse, and I put 3 days ago or 2 days ago, I did a post and I said, I will not let myself go down the path of depression over this, over a relationship that just started 3 months ago. I mean, yeah, we were aware of her. She was my senator, but we had to, America needed to fall in love with this woman to raise $1 billion and throw her out there
Right.
like she was a piece of meat for everybody to kind of see if she was good enough to vote for. Like, fuck you. You stayed home.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
That's a troubling thing for me. We had a record amount of people turn out in 2020, 155 million or thereabouts. And they turned out at that point, not because they were excited about Joe Biden. They turned out because they were terrified and hated Donald Trump. And
Yeah.
I've always said, what has Donald Trump done since 2020 to gain more votes? And the answer is nothing. He's lost votes, presumably at that point. And people are more terrified and more hating Donald Trump. So, how does it happen that we get 18, 20 million less votes in 2024 than we did in 2020? Do people get complacent? I mean, do people understand the reason we are here is because of the decades of apathy? Like, it's just hard for me to understand that people just said, well, yeah, I'll be all right. We don't have to do this.
You know, America is lame. It just is. We don't teach civics. Our
Yeah.
education system is bullshit. And that really, I don't care. Block me if you don't agree with me. But I don't need the whole world does not have to be in everyone's private, personal, family business about trans and gay. And I'm gay. And I don't need to know. I don't need to announce everything to the world about your life. And with rights, I mean, it just too many people are just tuning out for that. And it's unfortunate. But here's where we are. We have a country that doesn't embrace every kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they barely embrace, Jews, I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
and you still plod through life and you still do it. I've dealt with anti-Semitism my whole life. Did it stop me from being the best I can be? Yes. No, I mean, like it's like we all have a cross to bear. And I'm sorry that you're that like oppressed within your own community that you can't feel, but it's not everybody's problem. You
Right.
can't make your problem everybody's problem.
Exactly.
You know, in matters of racism, where the millions and millions of people were affected by that. When there's millions of people being treated unfairly and whatever, that's one thing to rally everyone around you. But for the 1% of and even the Muslim situation, what are you, like 100,000 votes? And this is how you're acting all over the country? Go fuck yourself. Go
Yeah.
live in Gaza. Go help them rebuild or move to Egypt until it's safe so you can deliver goods. Like, put your fucking money where your mouth is or
Yeah.
put your mouth over there. I'm sick of it. And you know what? And I have stayed as calm about this whole thing as I could because I know that in this moment, that was a big part of, kind of putting wedges between people within the party. But the first thing I posted on Instagram was like, Jill Stein and all you violent supporters of hers are going to get what's coming to you by
Yeah.
making sure that you're thinking loudly supporting her because you did not want Kamala, taking it away, giving her bad vibe. I mean, I would have, who doesn't understand staying home with those lunatics walking around?
Yeah.
You didn't know where they were going to show up.
Now,
faces covered, like they're like the new Ku Klux Klan. Fuck
now,
you. Get
now,
the fuck. I'm sorry, cursing, but I can't.
now I know that we only have you for a short time, a half hour or so, so we're coming toward the end. But I need you to answer a question that everybody's asking me. They will say, "So what do we do now?" And my answer is, I don't know yet. I will find a direction or something as far as what we have to do. But that's the important thing. I think a lot of people want to curl up in a corner and just say, I give up. I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to do anything. But the fact of the matter is, for me, as I've grown up, I, I've gone through trials, tribulations, tragedies, days when I thought I wouldn't be here tomorrow. But like you say, here we sit. I learned very early that you got to just step back, take a look at what happened, spin around it, and try something else. And that's kind of the position we're in right now. What do you think in the next step is?
I say I'm going to put out a Substack to my, small community to ask for people to join me and start identifying candidates that want to go under an umbrella of the independent, and let's find out what work is there to be done. Let us start today on a new way forward without having the typical crosses on our backs to be dragging around as an old news. What is available? Who's out there? Just find out. I'm going to just go on a journey to find out. I could end up in the same place where I am now, but it'll be as a registered independent, because what the Democratic Party, with its horrible messaging, which that we're all guilty of it, except me and you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. And I'll tell you something else. I hope this, and it's not gonna, but TikTok needs to stop with these lives trying to explain to the Republicans that they're like, that was bullshit. I think those lives ended up pissing off more people to vote for Trump,
Yeah.
because it all boils down to the same nonsensical talking points that they're not voting for because you're making that point. And it's just, not everybody is a bloviator on CNN. And by the way, how anybody could tune into MSNBC again is
Yeah.
beyond me. Those people don't know their shit from Shinola. They are over glorified Trump supporters because they do nothing but talk about him all day.
Right.
And
Well,
and it's like in sheep's clothing, with the opposite of, they're like sheep's and wolf's clothing or whatever. But
well,
they're like that whole industry.
that's been kind of my little thing I'm looking to push at is mainstream media. Mainstream media is one of the main reasons we are in the situation we are in. Donald Trump, when he came down the escalator and he was going to be a candidate, he wasn't a legitimate candidate. Not until the left side media, MSNBC particularly, put him on every day because he was good TV and he meant ratings and money to them. They gave him credibility. He became president. Now, when we go 4 years later, what happens? Joe Biden comes out. They're all over his ass. He's too old. He can't talk. He's too slow. Donald Trump is the same thing and even worse, but they give him a pass. Kamala comes out. They go after her, put her under the microscope, and give Donald Trump a pass. As far as I'm concerned, the media is as responsible as anybody for the position we're in right now. And if that's the case, if what I'm saying is right, why would we watch them? My point is we should no longer
You
watch
can't. They are the
MSNBC.
enemy of the people. That
They are.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not going
had
to
said
watch
that
them
last
anymore.
night. We were sitting there. No. We were watching watching them come, watching the results come in. We were flicking between all of them, and what is hilarious story. Amazon had a thing too. What's his name? The guy who used to be on.
Brian Williams.
Uh, Brian Williams was hosting, and if you saw that set, it was the weirdest set. It was like he was sitting in front of an empty road that was going nowhere, with like a burnt out house in the background. So I'm saying, why world? Why is he sitting in front of an empty road that's leading to nowhere? And like I go, this whoever produced this is insane. And the guy was sitting in the room. And I was like, well, I don't mean to insult you, but like, really? Well, I don't know. Anyway, that was
Well,
that was kind of hilarious. But
I'm gonna
yeah,
let you go here because you're a busy man. Don't forget Abe's "Won't Be Silent" book, and of course the documentary "Louder."
Won't Be Silent, Substack, and the sub yeah, Louder, the soundtrack of change, which unfortunately didn't get enough women out to vote either.
Wow. Wow. Well, I think it's
I
safe to
know.
say, with all the people wondering and asking, uh, Abe and I aren't going to be shutting up. We still got a lot of talking in us, and we're going to think of a direction, and we're going to do what we can. I mean, that's all we can do as older men. Like you say, we are going to be fine, but if we want to leave a better country for our younger folks, somebody's got to do something. And apparently, some people can't even get off the couch to fucking vote, but Abe and I can do this forever because we talk
Yeah, like
forever.
yeah, and direct message me through either TikTok or Instagram or through my Substack because I want to get a group of people together and go on this journey to identify and investigate the independent party and how can we make that more viable. I mean, I'm not going to do this alone because there's like levers that have to be pulled, but I surely can't be on my own here. There's no
No,
way.
well, you can count me in on it. I think it's a good idea, and it's something that's about time because we aren't being served very well by either party.
No, no,
And
no, 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 no. We've been, as I said last night, you can't rape the willing. And people who went forward and voted for him against their best interests or their family's best interests, yeah, there's got to be another way forward.
well,
It just
I
is.
hope those people that voted for Donald Trump when they're being loaded on the bus to be sent back to wherever, I hope they appreciate their decision making, or the women that have daughters or nieces that need reproductive health care and can't get it. I hate the idea of anybody
Florida.
innocent. Florida's a shithole. Nobody even wants to go there anymore.
I mean, but they couldn't even pass that what's it called? That amendment of it's madness. One of the people that talking, I'll go after this, was a nurse, a nurse for 14 years in North Carolina who has a 12-year-old daughter, a black woman. And she had tears in her eyes and she said, "Do you know how busy we are in our emergency for women who are coming in from other states because
Right.
they can't get health care?" And she's like, we are overrun. Like how black women in North Carolina did not vote for Kamala, she will never understand for like voting against her daughter. It was really moving.
Yeah. It's all very scary, but we can't sit here and cry about it. We got to push forward and kick some ass and take
No, I'm
names.
not
That's all we
crying
can
at
do.
all. I am ready to rumble. Let's go.
Let's
Join
do it.
me on this mission and let's see what we can do.
Sounds good. Abe, thank you
Love
very
you.
much.
Have a great day.
Thanks
Be
for coming
well.
in, and we will talk to you again soon. Those of you listening, thank you for taking the time. We'll talk to you
Great.
probably quicker than tomorrow. Just be watching and we'll be here.